All right, welcome back to my channel, Tema Israel, and right now we're in 4J. Oh, let me show you Scrappy. Coco. I think she wants to be in the camera, but we're at 4J's farm. This is 4J, Mr. 4J, or known as Mr. Johnson. You know, my channel is about learning how to farm, in-home farming, but today I have a treat for you. Every now and then you see I'll put on some stuff about herbs, natural herbs, but I only have so much in my yard, and 4J's farm is the perfect place to find some bush medicine, medicinal herbs. And Mr. Johnson will take it over from here with his tour around his garden and show us the use of some of these medicinal herbs and how you could identify them and whatnot. So
all right.
You might want to introduce yourself first.
Yeah, sure, no problem, man. Yeah, so I'm Mr. 4J's. Yeah. We also have a channel called 4J's Homestead. So you guys can go over there and check that out. The spelling would be FOR space J''S Homestead. All right, so just check that out. I mean, I grew up basically on one of the family islands, right? One of the Bahamas, one of the family islands, and oftentimes I would watch I grew up with my great grandparents, and I would watch them every morning. My great grandfather would watch them get up and go outside and just pick some bush and come back and boil it, you know. And when they asked him, I was like, you know, what's the name of this plant, you know, that you boiling for tea every morning? And he said it was croton. And I don't remember seeing that much croton on the property until I moved here to New Providence, and my grandmother had a hedge of crotons in the yard, and she would do the same thing. And so she started to tell me the croton was good for gas, you know what I mean, and good for headaches. My grandfather, he did a lot of he had a lot of medicinal herbs, a lot of bush medicine planted around the yard. He would use a lot of various trees and plants, you know, for various reasons. So I just stuck with him, and I learned that. And my father, on the other hand, did the same thing, right? But so I'm gonna just jump straight into it. The first one we're going to take a look at is the Microna plant. This is said to be good for cold, coughing, indigestion, right? And flu. It's good for that. Also, let's say you happen to be out on a farmland and in the wilderness, and you run across this plant, right? And let's say you're a person who kinds of play with, let's say, low sugar. Once these are ripe, you can pick these little fruits right here. Gotta pick one. And you can chew on it, you can swallow it. It is related to the fig. So if you squeeze one of those and you'll see the seeds, it's related to the fig. You squeeze that right good right there, I'll squeeze it. You see all those little seeds?
Oh, okay.
Right, it's the little seeds. So that's why, and they're very sweet, right? For those of you who don't want to swallow the seeds, you can spit it back out, or you can just eat it. Also, you can boil this for tea in the morning, for tea in the evening. You can drink this anytime. You don't necessarily have to use it when you have the cold or a cough. You can just use this every day, all the time, all right? It's also good to have one of these plants in your yard, because think about it, if you're walking around your yard and you just want a little pick-me-up, a little sweet something, you just pick the plant once it's ready.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I've seen this plant before, but I always thought it was poisonous. So if I see this plant somewhere in a safe spot, because I believe you never pick plants and just eat it, where you see a lot of dogs and stuff where they could pee and do their business on, or where a lot of cars are.
Yep.
But if I see this, I'm in the bush somewhere, and I see this, I could pick this and eat this.
Yep.
All right. And you say it's good for what again?
Well, the plant itself, the leaves, they're good for cough, cold, inflammation, right? And flu, to help you fight the flu. But you don't have to use it for that. You can use it every day.
All right.
Also, the fruit provides sugar and antioxidants.
Cool.
All right? It's very, very nice.
Almost look like a raspberry.
Yeah, it does. All right, so we're now here at the tree that we call strongback. And the reason why, now it goes by another name. I cannot remember that name, but this is the commonly known name that we call it here in the Bahamas, strongback. Also, with this, before I even get to the leaves, these fruits right here, another set of full of sugar, full of antioxidants, full of energy. You can take these and you can chew on a few of these, right? You can chew on a few of them. You can swallow them if you want to, or you can spit them out. You just want the juices, right? Basically.
Oh, okay.
That's what you want. Very sweet, natural sugar, 100%. So let's say you out in the wilderness or you in the back of your yard. It's good to have this in the yard also. You're back in the yard, you're in your yard, and you just want some out of my grown-up fruit and the strongback fruit. You can have a little bag or a little baggie full of this stuff and natural sugar. You don't even have to worry about going to run to the store and buy a cookie or M&M or something. And plus it gives you energy. It does, literally, because it's good for the body. Any plant that you find out that is edible, either by the fruit or by drinking it by tea, it's always good for your body. Now, here's the reason why it's called strongback, right? Simply because when I was growing up, my grandmother used to give this, my great-grandmother used to give this to me and my sisters and my uncles. This is a commonly known tea inside the house. It was a special known tea. Why? It's because we used to get it twice a day. We used to get it in the morning and in the evening. And we was told, at least I was told, that it helps the child not to wet the bed. So if you have a toddler coming up, and you know toddlers, they gotta grow out of it.
Right.
Right? Well, this helps them, this tea, right? And every time, what she used to do is she used to make sure when the fruit was ripe, she used to keep like a bowl of it. So she would give us a few throughout the day, right? So that was the benefit of this. This is why it's called strongback. But I'm sure it has a lot more benefits, but for that's the only reason I truly know of this plant. And again, you can drink this in the morning, in the evenings. You can drink this basically anytime. It's not harmful to the body at all.
So what exactly are we brewing once we make a tea? The leaves or the fruits?
You're brewing the leaves, not the fruit.
Okay.
You wanna either plant the fruit or you wanna eat the fruit, okay. But you're brewing the leaves, right? So we're going to move on to another plant now. I don't want to call the name of the plant because of the adult name. I will call it, the best name I could say is called stiff leaf. Okay, we're going to move on to that.
So
plant.
stiff leaf is another name for it?
Yes, another name for it.
Okay, all right, let's go to the stiff leaf.
Right. So what we have here is one of the plants that is one of the plants or the ingredients for what my great-grandparents would call 21 gun salute. Now 21 gun salute is 21 plants that's put together for adults, and I was told that it is good for baby making. So this is one of the leaves, and I call it stiff leaf, but the name is called stiff. Can I say this word?
You could say it.
The name is called stiff cock, okay? Simply because the leaf is stiff. It's very stiff, so it breaks brittlely. And this leaf here, it is known, at least what I was told, what I was taught, is that this...
Let me see a leaf.
This is, the ingredients in this is what keeps the male organ standing.
All right.
Now, along with that, the binding agent to the 21, you cannot have 21 unless you have this little thing right here. It's called the love vine, and that's the reason why it's called the love vine. It's a vine, and the plan is once you get like a bunch of this stuff right here, with the stiff cork, with the 5 fingers, with the chini root, with all the other rest of the plants. Once you get all that stuff together, before you boil it down, what you do is you take this and you wrap it up really good, right? A bunch of it. And you put it in a, you can either put it in a plastic bag or you can just wrap it up tight, dip it in some water and beat it until you see the juices start to flow out of it. Then you put it in the water. That's the first thing you put inside the pot. Then you put all these other leaves on it. Now what happens is this becomes very slimy and thick.
Yeah, I know.
It gets very, so it's a binding agent for all of the other ingredients. And that's why they say it's a baby making tea.
If I incorporate the stiff cork
Yeah.
and the love wine, boil them together and
Yeah.
drink it. So would you say if you're a guy
Yeah.
who's plagued with who can't hold an erection, would this be ideal for them?
Well,
Or it's mostly for men to maintain that erection?
well, from what I understand, this has to go along with the rest of the plants to actually help, because 90% of it depends on the man. If he is not mentally there, then it's not going to happen. But if, let's say, he's mentally there, all this does is add the extra 10 for him to go. You see, that's all this does.
Okay.
Other than that, the only other thing that this does is this helps to build up his back. Let's say it's he has a weak back, or he ejaculates fast. It helps to build that up if he drinks this.
So another question. The plant before this that was called strong bark.
Yes.
Is it strong bark or strong back?
It's called strong back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is stiff cork.
Yes, this is stiff cork.
Can I mix the stiff cork with the strong bark, or there's no need to? I could use either or and it works almost the same?
You can use either or, but remember, the strong back and the stiff cork is a part of the 21 gun salute.
Oh.
All right.
That's how they make
That's
that.
how,
Okay.
exactly.
We need to get that ingredient somewhere further down the line. But
All right.
I always wanted to know how did they make.
right.
I've seen the Rastas with their jug.
Right.
But I've never known how they made it. So
Okay.
this will be interesting.
Okay,
to know
so
how they make that.
what we're going to do is we're going to swing right over here to another ingredient that's a part of the 21 gun salute. It's called 5 fingers. Okay, so I just want to clear up something. From what I understand, from what I've learned from my father and my grandfather, when they make specific bush medicine, they kind of make it specific. But if they had to do a general overall one, they would do it where the male and the female could drink it. So with the 21 gun salute, the last ingredient that they normally add to it would be sweet milk.
Oh, sweet milk. Okay.
That gives it an extra thickness.
Okay.
But if it's just regular tea, as it is, the female can drink it, but just not as often as the male.
Okay.
You see? So it works, it still works for the body.
Okay.
Okay, so this is another ingredient here called, this is another plant. It's called 5 fingers. And here's the reason why we call it 5 fingers. Most of the times when the leaf is matured, it has 5 fingers, 5 leaves on it.
All right.
So once the leaf is matured, that's where it got its name from. This leaf is full of antioxidants. This leaf here is good, for what I understand. It's actually good for high blood pressure. So you can drink this as a regular tea. You can drink this just to regulate your blood. You can drink it like how people drink green tea, just to get the antioxidants. And guess what? The best way to drink it is without sugar. A lot of people love sugar, but seriously, sugar is the #1 murderer.
So if someone can't drink it as is,
Yeah.
some people have to have that sweetness.
Yeah.
Could they use like natural honey?
Yeah, sure. You can use natural honey. You can use, I think natural honey is the best. You can use some brown sugar, I guess, if that's the closest to like sweetening, if you want that, right? And you don't have to use a lot, just a little teaspoon, just to brackish, just to give it a little taste, if you like a little taste in our tea, but me, I could take it or leave it. I can take it or leave it.
The flavor of it is like what? Like bitter?
The flavor, no, it's not bitter. That's what I'm saying. It's like the green tea.
Oh,
It's like the
okay,
green
okay,
tea
okay.
leaf. It's not bitter. It just, you just see that color right away. Boom, green, right?
Right.
And you know you're drinking something that's fresh. The best way to do this is by crushing, grabbing a few leaves, crushing it up. After you boil your water, put it in the water and let it sit.
Does this plant produce? Is it a plant or a tree? Because it might be a young
This is actually, yeah, this is a tree actually. 'Cause
Okay,
this
does it
actually
produce
grows.
seeds?
It produces seeds and it produces flowers. So yeah, it produces. It definitely does.
All right. Okay.
And the flowers they come out in like a pinkish white. The inside would be white, but the outside would be pink.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty good. So what we have here, this is not a part of the 21 gun salute. Well, I keep saying the 21 gun salute. Anyway, the plants that make the 21 gun salute. This here is by far separate. This is an alien plant from the ground. It looks like a ginger root, but it's not a ginger root. The vine on it is a prickly vine that runs above the ground, and these tend to grow really big, massive. We're talking about at least 3-4 inches in diameter. They tend to grow, and these bad boys here grow all the way up into the big trees. So what happens is you're walking through the forest and you run into one of these are, this is why it's called chini root. They will cut you.
Okay.
You see, they will cut you. And oftentimes I would watch, I know as I was growing up on the farm, on the island, I watched my great grandfather never knew anything about this. Always just chop it and curse at him. He's damn sticky bush, you know, and he used to chop them. And just lately, about 4 years back, I met a friend of mine, and I think I had a checkup. I had a checkup, and I was being told that I was a I think first stage diabetic. That's what they were saying, that there was something that I was about to start suffering from high blood pressure or something like that. And I told him about it. It's a Rastafarian guy, a friend of mine, and he said, "Why don't you try Oh yeah, Cohen, right? That's his name." So why don't you try the chini root? You know? And I said, "What do you mean? What is that?"
He was featured on your channel before.
Yeah, he was featured on my channel, right?
I've seen that.
That's the same guy right there. And you know, he said, "Why don't try it?" And I was like, "What is a chini root?" You know? He's like, "You know that sticky bush when you walking through and it's cut your foot." I said, "That?" He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "I could bring you one so you could see it." And he never bought it, but I happened to run into him one day, and he had a very old one because he was using it as a display. He said, "This what I was talking about." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He said, this right here is hard to come by if you don't know the bush, and you got to know when to pick it. You see what I'm saying? You got to wait until the root has a certain thickness, right? And there's Coco on the bush. Okay, see that?
Oh Lord, Coco, you get trapped in the bush.
Trapped in the bush. So, you know, as I said, "What is it good for?" He said, "Man, this is good for high blood pressure."
So you would dig that up. It almost looked like ginger.
It looks just like ginger.
Or overgrown.
Right.
Or what's it?
No, it's not. It's,
Turmeric.
yeah, overgrown turmeric. It looks like an overgrown turmeric, right? And this thing is very hard. This is. See the inside of that? This. Okay, go down you go. So this, what you would do with this is you would wash it off real good, and you would slice this up. Now this you don't want to drink every day. You don't want to drink that every day. I would say you probably could drink that, I don't know, twice out of the week. But this is basically for those people who have, who feel like, you know, they have high blood pressure and they want to regulate it. So that's what I was told, not to drink it. And it's not something that you drink every day as a tea, but it's a special kind of root. It can be incorporated in the 21 gun salute, but not so much. So this would be as much as I would put in there. And I would use a half of this just for tea, because what I would do is I would boil it in just a small flask. I would boil it and put it in the fridge, and just drink it every 3 to 4 days, you know, so until it's finished, right? And so yeah, and then take some time off of it, because even though it has its great properties, it could be damaging also, you know, because if you're trying to take something that's going to regulate your blood, it could become a problem and causing you to have too much of low blood, you know, so we don't want that.
Yeah, too much of anything or using it in the wrong way can cause other problems, especially if you have other ailments.
Yeah. So the Chini root, it's excellent. It's a really great plant, and I thank Cohen for actually telling me about this plant. I've been using it, and I've made some tea for other friends who want it, and they said it's pretty good.
Chini root.
Chini root, yeah.
Chini root, okay.
So there we go. Yeah, so we are now in the back of the farm, at the back. I wanted to just point this out. There's three more bushes that they are outside of the 21 bushes that makes up the adult tea, say it that way. This one here is a 2-for. All right, it's a 2-for-1 situation. Yeah, enough for you. So this is called sage. With this bush right here, if you're walking through the bush and you want to know what sage feels like, sage has a very rough texture. The tree, it grows relatively with that height, and it has a distinct scent. It actually smells like medicine, like something that you would buy out of the store. It smells like, doesn't smell like Saab back in the day or Buckley's.
Yeah, that's
right.
medicine.
It has a medicine scent. Literally has a medicine scent. Right? This sage is also family to mint.
Right.
It's family to the mint, right? To the mint plant. The mint plant has a very strong scent also. Now, here's the thing about this sage. If anyone has had chicken pox as a young child, and they take you to the doctors, and the doctors send you home, send your mommy home with your parent home with a bottle of pink medicine, pink stuff.
That pink lotion?
Yeah, the pink lotion.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, listen, after you bathe the child and the child started itching, rub it all over them, right? Well, guess what? Grammy them taught me, we ain't getting no pink medicine, buddy. You can go out there and you can learn how to pick this bush called sage, and you can know this bush for the rest of your life. And I would go to a tree like this, and I would clip all of this off, not the root. I would just chop all of that off so it could still grow up. And I would bring that bunch home, and they would take it, mash it up as much as they could, put it in a big pot, boil it. After they boil it, let it sit until it gets cool. It's still warm, but until it gets cool. Because you don't want to bathe in it when it's cold. They prefer to bathe you in it. Now this is, I don't know, today's parents might do it different. They may wait until the water cold. Because the same ingredients is the same thing, right?
Right.
But back in the day, they used to wait until the water was warm, right? Nice little warm water, put you in that, and then bathe you with that, you know? They ain't using no soap. They just using a piece of towel, and this is right here. They putting all this inside the water, with the water, and they bathing you with that, right? And oftentimes, they used to scrub you a little bit so they could bite some of the bumps on you. That's because they wanted this medicine to get in your skin, to get in the sores, right? And that would help soothe. The purpose of that was to help, just like how the pink medicine would help you soothe, this would do a better job of helping you soothe all the itching. You see? Only when you start sweating, it start itching again. But it would help you soothe. And normally they would do this twice or 3 times a day, depending on the size of the child. They would do this twice or 3 times a day. The last time would be when you go into bed. So you really have no reason to get up, right? So that's what this sage is good for. Here's the second best thing about this sage. Remember I told you it's family to mint?
Right.
Excellent tea.
So I could drink this as a tea?
Yes, excellent tea. And this also, like the mint, scents up the house.
So is this the same sage that I see some people would dry out and they would burn?
Yes, same sage. Same sage. It runs, I think it runs mosquitoes and gives a good scent.
Yeah.
Gets rid of mosquitoes. So yeah, it's more, I guess I said it was 2 for 1. This has more benefits than we do. We always thought it was just forbidden. But like I say, hey, it's pretty good.
In the spiritual aspect, from what I've heard, when you burn the sage, it cleanses your house. But I also heard, correct me if I'm wrong, could you dry this and smoke it? I've seen someone smoking sage, but I'm not too sure if it's the same type of sage.
Now I can't speak on that.
Okay.
I know you can dry and burn or dry and smoke. It's family to the cannabis. Cerasee.
Okay.
I know you can do that with the cerasee, but I don't know about the sage.
Okay.
That would be the first time. The person who did that, I'd love to meet that one. I'd love to meet him and ask him about that. That's new to me, right? But I know if you're using it for incense, you can do that. If you're using it, you can either boil it or you can, like you say, dry it and just throw some on a little fire on the inside, or on the outside, however you want to do it, and use it for incense. That's how you can use the sage. The sage has many benefits, right?
Another question. So if somebody wants to have sage planted as part of their herbal garden,
Yeah.
do the sage produce seeds, or
Yes.
you have to go it through a clipping or what?
You can try clippings, but the sage does grow seeds.
Okay.
It does grow seeds. The plant that comes up out of these are pink and white, a little red.
Right.
I don't know if they're edible. I haven't tried it as yet. Yes, I do try. And I normally run across plants.
Mm-hmm.
I take a risk. Yes, I do. And I eat one to see what happens, the benefits, you know? And if it doesn't leave too much of a bad taste, then I'm like, you know what, hey, it's good, right? But yeah, so you can try a clipping, or you can wait for it to bear, and you can just be here when they bear. All right, so what we have here is something we call rock bush. Now, just for proof, this is one of the reasons why they call it a rock bush. You can notice where it's growing. Notice where it's growing. See all these bunch of rocks? Right in the rocks. Okay. They can literally grow in the rock. So you see that there? But that isn't why they call it rock bush. That's like part of it. These are like the stiff cork. They're very hard to the touch. Right? So, and like I said, because they grow in a rock, they have a very distinctive scent. Okay, so what I love about this plant is it has a very distinctive scent. In the afternoon, the pods open up, and you can smell the scent as it rises. Right? So if you rub it, you might be able to smell a little more, like the little seeds.
Oh, the seeds.
Yeah. The scent would rise. So it has a musty, sweet scent, right? So you have to wait for it to actually open up. And oftentimes, I mean, it's very pleasant, I can be honest. And I say musty, I don't mean musty like in funky. I mean, in a musty, you can smell it, it's strong, right? Now, I was told that this tea, this bush right here is you can use this as tea. Or let's say you get a cut. Take one of these leaves. They're very liquidy. I mean, they have a lot of oil, water in them. So if you squeeze it, you can get a lot of juice out of it, right? And what you want to do is once you get cut or you get bite from a bee a bite from a wasp or ants, you're going to take like a handful of this stuff right here, right? Pull the leaves off and grind it up as much as you could, right? You can add your own saliva to it if you want, or you can just use it and just keep squeezing it until you get the preferred amount of juices, and it would stop the itching from the bee bite or whatever it is, or the ant's bite. It would help the swelling, it would help the swelling not to swell as much, but to go down, right? And it would help the healing process to move faster. So that would be the end of me sharing for these bushes that I actually selected, these plants I selected to share. Hopefully it was enough, or you was able to help whoever get this information. And yeah, this is from Mr. 4J's. Back to you, Tay.
Right, so there you have it. The tour of herbs that you could find. If you one like me, I have a few. None that was mentioned in this video though. Growing in the back of my yard, but growing up here on the island and the outer islands, these are the herbs that you could find. And these things that you can use and take to keep yourself healthy, cleansing, good for diabetes, good for high blood pressure, and just to keep yourself just healthy,
regulated
from colds, flus, and other viruses. So I want to thank Mr. 4Js again. Remember, you could find his video. I'm going to link it in the description. You can pay a visit to that video. And I want to thank Mr. Johnson again for giving me a tour of herbs, because if you leave it up to me to go in the bush and look for these myself, I probably would have been telling you the wrong thing. But hopefully I would like to take another visit sometime down on. They do have a lot of chickens also. Now, I don't have chickens. Eventually I will. But for those of you on my channel who are interested on how to grow up chickens, what type of chickens to get, we probably will get Mrs. 4J to help us with that on the chicken part. But that'll be in the next video. So once again, thanks for watching. If you're still sticking around this far, you could like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.